Hi guys, so I'm Pronobus, and today I'll be showing you around the Incarnate System. Incarnate System, what is that? Well, about 18 months ago, I got interested in Dungeons & Dragons and Pathfinder and a bunch of other virtual tabletops. I wanted to get into the community as a developer. My dad taught me from a long time ago, the level you want to get into a new community, find the biggest problems they have and fix them. So we identified 3 groups with a unique problem for each one. There's the players, the game masters, and the publishers. So this video is really going to focus on the second one of those, the game masters. What can we do to take the pressure off of the game masters and allow them to really shine and focus on having fun and not being overloaded by the weight of everything that they're doing? That being said, we have the Incarnate System here, which I have a complete list of the cheat sheets here. At 18 months and a bit over 3,000 hours, if you try and just poke around, odds are you're going to get lost. So I recommend that you start off with the cheat sheets here, and they'll give you the most common commands you'll need. That being said, I do have another link from a world map that we have there on the website for free download. Okay, so we're going to get started here, and I'm going to just zoom in, and we're going to have, this looks like a beautiful bay to start off with an early tier 1 crest. So we're going to start off over here, and I'm going to then pin this down here for my easy reference in the future. So we have a map, and we have a river, and a bay. I think this is going to be a freshwater lake right in here. So I think that is going to be where we're going to place our starting city. And this is such a beautiful location for a city. I'm going to place a rather large city. First of all, I want a map for the city, so I'm going to come into battle maps. It's now on the coast. I don't think there's going to be too many trees, a few. And I want this to be a very large city. And this is pulling from maps that I've pre-made, and again, are available for free download. So we're going to place that pin there. I'm going to make it green, so now my players, when they're looking at this map, will be able to click on that map to zoom in. These pins are red because I don't want them to zoom in everywhere. They could get lost. Mainly, here when we're first starting off, we're going to be starting in this sector, and so I'll let them zoom in there. I'm also going to create a pin in the lower left, and it's wherever you want to put, that lets them move back up to the map so it's easy to get back here. All about convenience. And then here, once again, that pin in the lower left, we'll see it already exists. That's because I designed them to have these pins on the left. I just have to make it green so that players can click on that. Okay, so we now have our city. Oh, and before I zoom in all the way, let's stay here for just a minute. I'm going to tell it to organize my stories and to create this empty group I just created a minute before you guys showed up. And I'm going to generate a capital-sized city here. And it's going to go through and make a couple hundred walls. And I know it's done because this button will turn from red back to gray. Okay, and that's not working for you guys. Let me figure out what the macro command. Oh, I know. Oh, is it join audio? There we go. There's the link. Sorry for remembering that one, and thanks for your patience. Okay, so it's done to building this, and we now have lots of things with lots of districts. I'm going to pin this up here so it's easy to find, but right now these are all empty. It just has the stuff we need to generate. So I'm going to click populate, and that's going to make a truly outrageous number of walls, and it's going to take a little bit longer, but it's going to generate all of those districts out, so I have a fully fleshed out city. And you guys can just click on that Discord link, and it'll bring you into the Discord channel, and then I'm under the live stream if you want to give live feedback there. Or you can, of course, type it there in the chat. Okay, and we have it done. So let's start off with, I like commercial districts because I really like taverns. I think they have lots of flavor. So I'm going to zoom in on a small one. We don't need a large commercial district just yet. I'm going to click populate again. It's going to generate, let's see, 2 restaurants, 2 taverns, and 2 general stores is what it has here. We're going to come in, and I'm just going to place these. Now, I'm going to make these green pins so that my players can click into them and navigate around. Now, with just this much done, I am ready for our first session. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to start them off on this map here and let them look around. In all likelihood, they're going to end up in one of these locations. Okay, you don't see something posted by Incarnate Streaming LLC that says that? Okay, so they're probably going to ask to go into one of these. Let's say they go into the general store. Okay. It shows up on my screen as being there right above you guys. I'm not sure why it didn't show up for you guys. Anyway, it's there on the live stream if you'd like to do live input. And once it's done with rolling up those two merchants, here it's opened one. And we have enough of the background here. So let's see, they specialize in potions, wealthy middle class. And he's taking notes on all of his customers. We happen to roll that twice. I'm going to delete one of them. If I wanted a different one instead, I could just come in here and roll a second personality. Joe can tell stories. And let's see, it is a human. 24, so rather with a young man. Welcome to my shop, good travelers. Welcome in. You can see I have a fine array of potions here. It may interest you in some various things. And then we start to roleplay it out. Probably the players are going to end up asking if he needs anything, or they'll wander on and ask if someone else needs something at some point. If they were to ask him, I'd probably send them off on a mission to go and get an ingredient for him to make a special potion, or something like that. Something that takes them up into, I think there were some mountains just north of here on the big map. Yep. So I'd send them on a mission to the mountains to retrieve a rare plant of fine qualities. What plant do you say? Well, I quickly flip back over here to the master cheat sheet, and I generate a random plant. I need you to retrieve for me the rare tutudu. It's a vine that normally spreads about 8 feet from its root, and it has been known to climb over small shrubs. You'll recognize it by the blue fruit with a thin, slimy skin. And if you crack it open, you'll see a hard yellow flesh inside of it. I need you to collect some of them. They have a rare ability that allows you to heal, and I want to derive some healing potions from them. And of course, I'll pay you well when you return. And so I want to remember this, so I'm just going to come back over to our merchant. And I'm going to link it in here for wherever I want to reference that in the future. And off they're going to go to the north. Well, we don't really have any encounters or anything prepared. What are we going to do? Whenever you'll ask that question, go back to the list of the complete cheat sheets. Complete cheat sheets. Anyway, here we have battle maps. Well, we need a place to fight anyway. So we have road and forest, road on plain. We didn't have that many trees, so we're going to start off here. Okay, so we have a place for them to fight now. But we need something for them to fight. Well, it's a beginning party, so let's go to our encounter cheat sheet. And currently it's up to do either a cavern or coastal. I don't like that. So I'm going to change this and make it, let's say they're trying to get to the mountains. Let's do 1 to 5 there. They're going to pass through some hills. So let's give them a 6, 7 there. And there happens to be a forest nearby. So on an 8, we're going to the forest. Now I need to set the difficulty for these. So I'm going to go and open the forest, set to 1. Good. Whatever it's set to, it's going to aim either for that one, or 1 high or 1 low. So here we have the hills. I'm going to change that down to a 1. And finally the mountains. And that's going to give me an encounter of either a 1/2 if they get lucky, a 1 if they happen to be neutral, or a 2 if they happen to get unlucky. The 2 is going to be a really hard fight. It's going to push them to their limits. But it's good to have those on occasion. Okay, and as odds were, they ended up with a regular encounter. And it gives us a map there that we could use, but we already chose a map we like. And, oh, I haven't done much with the mountain encounters yet. Sadness. I'm still working on some content. I try and add in on a regular basis. All right, and that's the hill map. And here we have 2 pseudo dragons that they're encountering. And with a single click, we can drop those into the combat tracker where we had it left over encounter from earlier. And of course, when you're done, you delete them out, and Fantasy Grounds automates that combat really well. Okay, so then at the end of the fight, we need to give them some loot. So the pseudo dragons happen to have a pouch on them. And if it was a regular fight, I'd give them something from up here, which is just going to be a real pitting thing. And 4 coppers, that's not worth much at all. At some point in the session, probably when they get the tattoo and head back to the merchant, they're going to get this treasure hoard loot. And this is designed to be a much more substantial thing. They got really unlucky, though. We'll see here on the first table, they probably had a 1. A 2. Yeah, so they got rather unlucky, and it is only CR1, so it's not all that great. They did get a potion of climbing, potion of healing, and the braces of archery. Braces of archery I consider really good, but the other 2 are meh. Anyway, and as we can see, we have things in here all the way up to CR30. And if we roll up a bit higher, it's going to get to some really interesting stuff that mid and late campaign will be really interesting for them to end up getting. What are these funny codes you're looking at? Well, the 5e Forge that's built in here has almost 300,000 magical items it can pull from. In this case, the Electrified Silver Lance of Human Slaying and the Frost Brand Flail of Aberration Slaying. These codes are here in case we don't want that flail there because no one in our party can use it. We have a rogue though, and we need a rapier. And the way we change that is we come into the Forge, we look up what the rapier code is. There it is. A rapier is all 1. And so 50-50 chance. Which one is the Aberration Slaying and which one is the Humanoid Slaying? And I'm thinking we're going to try the top one first. So BGW1, all 1 instead of F, which stands for flail, A4, M8, F6. And that's going to generate us a brand new weapon, in this case a Frost Brand Rapier of Aberration Slaying. And that allows you to customize and do it. I know it's a little bit technical, but you don't really have to use this at all. You could just use what it gave by default. It allows it to be open enough to customize if you wish to do such a thing. Okay. And we close all of that up. And you can understand the basics of how that works. So now let's go over what all we have here. We can generate teleportation circles from here to give us a 5-digit code for the teleportation circle, and then the rest of this we would fill in based on where we'll place it in the world. So that's great for if someone learns teleportation, now you need to give them 3 spell locations to teleport them to, and you don't know where. You can generate them real quick, drop the pin somewhere on the map, and if they choose to dial one of the combinations, they'll end up teleported over there. This long rest is what I roll whenever they stop to take a long rest. So every time, and it starts, okay, the weather changes a couple of times, but they got lucky and nothing happened here at all. Most times, there'll be an encounter at some point in the day. And so the question is, when do they go to bed? If they went to bed at 11 in the morning, then they aren't really going to encounter anything. And the way this generator works is it has a more likely chance of an encounter during the dawn-dusk period. And so those times you'd rather not stop. You'd rather wait for the better times. Let's say they're doing perception checks around. This gives you some recommendations. I don't recommend rolling on it, but if they get a value of 1 to 10, you can roll over here. And this can give you some interesting things if they're just looking around. They happen to find a mastiff there. It can give all sorts of mold and whatnot. And as you go up, it can give some really cool stuff. If you happen to get ridiculous things with modifiers, that's completely at the game master's discretion if you'd even want to use it. Random natural disaster, bunch of stuff here that's quick linked. Organization generator. If you want to build an organization, this is a great place to start. It's going to roll out a bunch of stuff for you. And as it rolls it out, consider a starting point. Then you can tweak it, change it, make it whatever you want here. Dungeons. We all love dungeons. So I have the difficulty set for CR1, and we can then just generate a cave. And so this cave is going to generate as 3 standard chambers, 1 boss chamber, that for this low level, there aren't any really decent bosses. So we're going to have to choose one manually. Because we're not putting them up against the Holy Mouse. Not that level. So I'm going to open up the NPCs list from over in the 5e battles. And let's go into terrain and go into the cavern listing. So they are 1, or probably level average ones. I'm going to go for 2. An Ankh would be a good choice for a boss, maybe even a cave bear. Nork Jelly would walk. Maybe if it got surprise on them. Ogre would be a decent possibility. So there's several things in there we could do. Anyway, each chamber gives us a description of a door. Take it or leave it. If you don't want a door, skip it. Or delete it. A basic description of the chamber itself. And in 3 difficulties. First up is a trap. Then an encounter. Then a key feature. Most chambers you won't want all 3. But because you're not going to like all of the things that the generator spits out, you're going to want to have extra choices to delete. So if you decide, in the first chamber, I'm not going to give them the CO2 encounter, that's just a bit too powerful for them, well, let them just deal with other things. You have plenty of content in that room. So we just delete that out. And we can have some useful items, or you can go over to the loot cheat sheet and roll up your own. Either works. Okay, and then the boss, we could stick whatever we chose, maybe the Ankh in here, anything there. And it gives us a quick link here at the end to get back to that loot cheat sheet I was talking about earlier. Let's say you want them to encounter someone on the road. You don't really know who. You kind of want to figure it out based off of who it is. This table allows us to roll a random standard city type person. There's 60 backgrounds. 10 of them I've decided are not exactly normal. And so those are going to be kind of limited. Now you're noticing that it's going to give us a lot of humans and a lot of gnomes so far. That's because currently in our random race section, we have it set on a 1 to 10, it gives us a gnome, and 11 to 20, it gives us a human. We can change that by just saying, let's make that 6, and now a 1 to 5 will give us a tiefling. And that'll affect the tables throughout. So this craftsman, all of those others we were seeing elsewhere. And then based off of whatever it generates, we can decide why they bumped into him on the road. What's he doing at that dungeon? Is he injured in the corner and they're rescuing him? Will we give him some sort of reward if they escort him safely back to town? Was he in that dungeon trying to get something himself? Does he happen to wander in and save them from something? All sorts of things he can do there. Building cheat sheet. So back when we were on that city, we can always choose, this city really needs a jail. So we're going to generate a jail, and we're going to populate it. And currently the jail has a criminal, a craftsman, and a professor. I kind of want to know why. So I'm waiting for the red button to turn gray. That means it's done making, for 4 of them, I'm guesstimating about 800 walls in the background. Maybe a bit less. Okay, so he's an enforcer, so he's probably in here for beating someone up. But he doesn't actually like killing people. Interesting. He doesn't like killing people, but he likes seeing them die. That could be a contradiction unless he likes other people, seeing other people end up dying. Anyway, so other people kill other people. So he probably deserves to be in the jail. Oh, and I should make it shared so they can actually see that. The professor, maybe the professor got beat up by that criminal. I have great secrets, you know. My research, it's going to better the entire world, but the guild in the area wants to keep it all to themselves. Guild in the area, you say? Well, didn't we just generate one of those? Yes, that, the Gilal, they want to control my secrets and use this for their own good, and that'd be far worse. Wow, it happened to score a crit on the power. So this Gilal is, if we did it as red, is as powerful as Guild out there as possible. It spans the entire continent. We happen to just roll up some really high numbers here. And yet it's only 11 years old. So I'm suspecting a darker underside that allowed them to grow this powerful that quick. And ironically, they're poor. So they're probably investing all of the proceeds as fast as they get it. And they're sponsored by one of the governments. So I have to decide, is it by this government or someone else? I could use it, or I could roll it into something else. Okay, what else do we have in here to show you? Boss cheat sheet. So let's talk about high level bosses. The main league that I've been playtesting this with starts everyone at level 3, so I haven't done much low level stuff. But I've done a lot of these things in here from 3 to 5, and when we start looking at these, we're going to see some foreshadowing, some stalling text, battle taunts, death speech. So this is meant, as we go through the dungeon, and that first chamber, I'm talking about these smoke trails going across the ceiling. In the next room, there's places where the floor has been smashed to pieces. Or it looks like an incredible amount of force has been applied to it. And if they understand what they're doing as they're going through this, they'll know what they're encountering before they actually get to that boss chamber. Maybe they choose to take a long rest in chamber number 3 to change their spells to get ready for that fight. With the smoke trails and big blast marks, you can guess you're facing something that does bludgeoning and fire damage. Maybe you want to prepare something that gives you resistance to fire damage. I don't know. Okay, background, loot, battle, forge, city, siege district. We pass over the siege district real quick while it's generating it down to the tavern at the very beginning. NPC creation. So this allows you to force the specific races. This is where that table was I was popping up earlier. You can force a specific class. You can even force a specific background if you're using, like this table here, that does a random background instead of the background cheat sheet we were looking at a minute ago. It does a specific one. Sirenscape sounds. So there's a lot of NPCs, like dragons are a perfect example. So let me go into types, dragon. A lot of these older dragons will have sound packs that go with them. I chose the coral dragon. Silly me. It's like the only one that doesn't. Okay, and so what these do is they activate Sirenscape. So if you own Sirenscape, you can start playing these. Sirenscape has some of the best sounds out there. It is truly, truly amazing. One button. Where is it? There we go. There we go. So Sirenscape is some of the best stuff out there. They do amazing sound effects. That being said, I'll let you listen to that on your own. Let's turn... Oh. Quick panel and turn that off. So we can activate all of our sounds from here inside the Fantasy Grounds using these links. And Sirenscape has a lot of options. I really like it. So like back when we were looking at the tavern, we have, this one has the CD sound effect with it. And we have all of that going on now. Okay. Forge. So we touched on this briefly. This is what uses the compressed item codes, i.e. the gibberish, this S1 whatnot, that then generates these. And by using that compressed item code, we compressed half a gigabit of data down to 5 megabytes. So that's 1/100th of what it would have been otherwise. So yes, I know this looks a bit robust, but it has allowed us to squeeze a truly ridiculous number of items in here. And then we give you all of the codes and what they do for if you want to build your own item. Of note, you need to always remember to declare whether it is a weapon, armor, or shield, which is the most common mistake people make. And that's going to be done with the letters W1 for weapon, S1 for shield, and A1 for armor. It can be anywhere in the code, but if you don't declare the correct thing, so if I declare that I'm getting a shield and then give it a weapon code, it's going to give me an error because it's different lists of magical properties it's looking through and it has to know where to look. Okay. So city districts, sounds, maps. like I said, it's all available for free download, and there's the download link that you can share with your players and other stuff. One reason why you'd want to share them with the players is if they have the map pack you're using, so the world map and also the battle maps, if they have the same version of that on their computer as you have on yours, then all your computer sends to theirs is open map number 159 in Earth-like 1 is where this one came from. Why is it called Earth-like 1? Well, it's one of our Earth-like maps. Okay, and I'm going to turn off the soundscape sounds again. Okay. Leagues that are using it, currently only Explorers Guild. If your league adds it or starts using this, please let me know and I'll add it in there. Then we have stuff that's going to help the player. I'm going to make a separate video in just a minute that goes into what these last three do. So for YouTube, I think that's going to be it. I'm going to stop the